My YouTube friend, this is Non-Mechanic here, and today I am working on a 2007 Ford Taurus. And my neighbor's daughter was driving, and she noticed that the car was overheating. So she stopped the car. She noticed that the reservoir was empty, so she waited till it cooled off, and she added some antifreeze on it. She added some cooling, but what she noticed was that when she put the cooling on it, the cooling was dripping all the way down there. As you can see, it's still leaking there, but in this situation it's water because all the cooling is going out of it. I don't know if you can see that drip right there. See how it's dripping? So now it's a difference when when someone tells you that they have a leak. You know, when they have a leak, we gotta look for what kind of leak it is. Is it a transmission leak? Is it a oil leak? Is it a power steering leak? Is it a coolant leak? But in this situation, like Tim always say, you have to listen to what the car or the owner has to say. And what she said was that every time she added cooling, it started dripping from the bottom. Now, so we're gonna go under the car and find out where it's coming from. You want to see what side it's coming from. And what she said was, and the reason why I'm close to over here in the car is because it's raining and I don't want the camera to get wet. The first thing I did was, okay, she said that it's coming out from the bottom. That's what she said. But the first thing I did was, I checked these holes right here. This hole here to make sure no cooling is coming out of there. I checked the cooling here. I checked also this hose and the hose in the bottom down there, if you see it. Now, those is nice and intact. The next thing I did was, I want to check if the reservoir is cracked. And I checked, and when I put the, I put water. I didn't put cooling because cooling is expensive. So I just put it just to see if it's leaking from here. And nothing was leaking from the cooling, so from the coolant reservoir. So the coolant reservoir is not broken or cracked, because if not, it would have came out through the side, and it was not coming out through the side. I checked under there, I checked the other side, I checked all over. So now every time we added cooling to it, the water started coming out through there. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna add some water to it, and we're gonna go under the car. I'm gonna get my flashlight and I'll be right back. My friends, I'm gonna put some water on it. Now, when you're working on a car and a coolant, you gotta make sure that the car is cold. Let it sit for 2 or 3 hours. Make sure it's cold. You don't want to work in a hot engine. If not, you're gonna burn yourself. Especially if you take the cap off, it can just splash in your face. So use safety, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna add water. Hopefully, I can do it with one hand. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I missed. So I'm just adding water because the coolant, like I said, is a little expensive. Oh man, did a little mess there. So once I put the water there, we're gonna go to the bottom, and you see how that drip is coming? See how it's coming? So what I did was I went under the car. Now make sure you use safety glasses, because if this falls on you, it can harm your eyes and all that. So you see how it's coming out a lot through there? So I was looking for holes to see if there's a hole broken, and the only thing in top of there is the water pump. I can't get under there right now because it's leaking a lot. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I can probably, let me just put the flashlight. If you can see from the top right there. Now, let me see if you can see it dripping right there. I'm gonna show you from the top where is that coming from. Okay, so now the hoses are good. So the next thing we want to check is our water pump. I took the tire out because I was checking everything out through here just to see where it was coming from, just to see if there's any water hose or anything, and it's coming out right from the top. You don't have to take the tire out, but I did because I want to make sure I'm diagnosing the right thing. So the next thing I did was, I looked at the water pump, and let me see if I can put the flashlight right where the water pump is at. So now, okay, yep, right there. Oh, let me go pick up this flashlight because I want to show you where it's coming from, and disconnect the negative battery also. Okay, let me set up this flashlight really good and I'll be right back. I don't know if you can see that, but if you look on there in the water pump, let me get it closer. Okay, you see that hole right there? That hole, the water is coming out right through there. That's the water pump. So what happens is it's a seal in there. So when that seal breaks, the water or the antifreeze starts coming out through there, letting you know that your water pump is bad. So let me see if I can add some more water to it. Okay, let's stay looking at it while I add some water on it. See how I'm adding water? And you see how it's coming out? If you can see it, see how it's coming out through there and it's going to the bottom? So that's exactly where the water pump is at. So right here we got a bad water pump, and I'm gonna let my neighbor know that she needs a water pump, and hopefully I'll do this job because I had a 2007 Ford Taurus before, and I did the water pump on it. So this is maybe like 2-hour job. So here we go. So this is how you diagnose if you have where your leak is coming from. First, check the holes, check your reservoir, check all the holes in the bottom, check where it's coming from, and always listen to what the owner of the car has to say. Like she said, she put cooling on it, and it just kept pouring out, and then you can see right there, that's what we call the weep hole, and that's where the cooling is coming out from. So this is how you diagnose a bad water pump on a 2007 Ford Taurus. And once again, thank you for watching. This is Non-Mechanic. If you have any comments or questions, please post them down below or contact me at nonmechanic101@yahoo.com. That is nonmechanic101@yahoo.com. Later.